This is Mike, and I thought I'd give you guys an update. It's been a while since I posted. Obviously, the finale of last season was getting to the Great Barrier, which was fantastic. And this winter, it's been all about boat projects and just getting out on race boats as much as I can, just trying to improve my skills, get as familiar as I can with other boats, how they sail, and really how to get the most out of my sails, which is something I've always struggled with on the Green Pearl. Is, you know, some days we'll be doing 7 knots and other days we'll be doing 5, and I can never really quite figure it out. So yeah, also managed to get the Pearl out a couple of times just in the spring, but a lot of what I'm going to cover this time is the projects I've been doing over winter. Had a few projects going. So obviously one of the problems with the Green Pearl, which is a Jeannet Melody from 1979, is those walk-through transoms were unheard of back then, and it's quite a gymnastics feat trying to get out of the dinghy onto the boat up the boarding ladder. So I decided to try and make one for the back of the boat. I've been making this. This is my attempt at a bolt-on transom. So you can see here I've got these aluminium bosses running through fiberglass, which has all been built on a jig. It's going to have a telescopic boarding ladder as well. You can see there. Hang on, I'm just going to switch over to wide angle. That's better. So you can see here we've got a few hinges. This is going to be able to lift up. This is going to hinge up on the side as well. And the idea is it bolts to the back of the boat. And that's all, hopefully, the same profile as the back of the boat. So normally when you build a transom extension, you would haul the boat out of the water and just build it straight onto the back, similar to how Palais Revival did theirs. But it's actually really expensive where I am to keep your boat out of the water, and it did take me quite a few months to build this thing. So instead I actually 3D scanned the back of the boat and imported it into CAD, which I've never done before and turned out to be quite a challenge. And then from there, off the 3D scan, I did some surfacing and then built a jig, which could then be 3D cut on a water cutter and then assembled in my garage, and then build the actual transom extension in that, with the idea that I've replicated the shape perfectly. The other thing we've been working on is a dinghy, and I know you're thinking, why on earth would you bother building yourself a dinghy? And the reason for that is that I just really hate those inflatable ones, and the problem with all the dinghies on the Melody is it has a baby stay, which pretty much cuts the foredeck in half, so it's really awkward trying to get a boat on. So what I've done is I've designed this dinghy and built it, and it actually has this big slot in the back. See how it actually looks like a centerboard slot, but it's not. It's completely open at the back, and that's actually so that the dinghy can slide over the forestay. I'd love to pretend that this project went perfectly, but the problem is when you design stuff yourself, sometimes you get it wrong. And you can see here that during the development I actually had to cut the entire bottom off the boat and rebuild it to increase the size of the planing shoe. Before I bought the Green Pearl, my original intention was just to buy a laser sailing dinghy. Well, clearly that plan went astray, and I came back with a 34-foot keelboat. They don't want to take you any further, so really I've channeled all my energy into using my engineering skills to restore the Green Pearl and just learn how to sail. Anyway, when sailing back from Fiji the first time with Daniela from Audacious Path, she told me that British and American sailors traditionally received a swallow tattoo for travelling 5,000 nautical miles. The barn swallow apparently is symbolic because it migrates far from home and back again. So I've picked up on this sailing goal from Daniela, and currently I'm almost 3,400 nautical miles into my goal. So I'm assuming some of you guys sail. What are your sailing goals? Let me know in the comments. My tactics for trying to get to my 5,000 nautical miles has been to sail my own boat as much as possible in summer, and also just get on a race boat as much as I can. So I did the winter series on Predator up with the Richmond Yacht Club, and I've been doing the start of the summer series at the Bucklands Beach Yacht Club. I've actually been trying to figure out how to make better videos, and I was told the other day that actually the best lighting for photography and dramatic video is actually the change of light. So it's not so much the sun or the rain, it's actually when it's changing. Because because that's when you get the great light, you know, when the bad weather's coming in, or the good weather's kind of coming in. So yeah, expect to see a bit of that over the coming summer if you're following me. But right now, anyway, I'm down at the boat, so we'll just take a look at what's happening on the boat. Oh, let's go down the old hole. Classic old boat. You walk down into it, you don't walk into it. Look how high that is. There you go, you want to see the dog climbing down? Come on. You coming down? You coming down? Come on. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. I'll just show you the new engine actually. So this is the new engine. This is the Beta 30. So the original engine was from 1979, and to be honest, the whole bilge was constantly full of oil and diesel, and it was smelly. So this whole thing, it was quite a mission to get in there. And you know, I guess it's pretty pricey to get it in, but you know, I really feel like it's transformed the boat. The boat has gone from a boat that you just really didn't want to run the motor. You always wondered if it was going to start. You know, like literally it'd be running for an hour and you'd hear a bang and the alternator would be sitting in the bottom of the bilge covered in oil. So, you know, it's really good to get a new engine in here. And even though I'm not a huge fan of motoring, just actually having a decent, reliable motor. But there's one thing I definitely want to show you, even if you haven't done it, and that's if you have a PSS shaft seal. Now, I don't know who invented the PSS shaft seal, but yeah, so there's a problem with the PSS shaft seal, and that is, you can see here there's a stainless steel slider ring that rubs up against a carbon part of the seal, and what happens is that stainless steel ring, the only thing prevents it from sliding up on the shaft is two tiny grub screws, which inevitably come loose since they're screwed onto a hardened steel shaft. So to prevent that, I've got a piece of 25mm black alkathene tube, you know, like farm tubing, and I've cut a section and hose clamped it around the back of that seal, so inevitably when those grub screws come loose again, at least the seal won't slide backwards, leaving a gaping hole in the boat. So the other thing I've done on the boat is resealed all these windows. So I don't know if you remember from the Cyclone Hail video, the whole kitchen was filling up with water, and there was actually just water leaking through these windows here, and it was making all the cushions wet and mouldy. But I've actually sealed them up. It seems to have worked. Like normally after rain you'd be getting water on these countertops, and particularly that seat there used to get soaking wet, which is actually dry, which is fantastic. Actually, do you guys have those places on your boat that you always hit your head? Well, I have them. So I've ended up just cutting up a pool noodle and putting it in those two places that I just always hit my head for some reason. And you know, it doesn't look pretty, but yeah, I think it's going to work. Let's go, dog. Go on, up you go. Hup. Good girl. Here you go, look at that. Very nautical dog, eh? Good girl. Good girl. Who's a good girl? Good girl. So anyway, that was a little bit of a change of pace, bit of boat work instead of sailing, but summer's on its way, so hopefully we'll see a bit more sailing soon. Let me know in the comments what you thought, whether you're interested in the boat projects or just more interested in the sailing. Although, bless your cotton socks, I'm not too sure why you're following my channel, but good on you. And I'll see you next time.